Recently, I found out that there's a Karen that lives in my neighborhood down the street, so I have to be respectful to her, so we're gonna go ahead and give the Mustang a cold start. Ah, well, I'm sure she appreciated that. Also, I need to drive this car more, or maybe start, I don't know. This isn't really supposed to happen. That's not a very good sign. I mean, also I don't drive this car all the time, and recently it's been getting garaged, so that kind of can happen, but that is a lot of smoke. Like, that's a lot. So, unfortunately, the Mustang is getting kind of old, and maybe I need to start babying it a little bit. Maybe. So if you guys have been following along, you'll know that we recently installed the GT350 wing, and if you haven't, then there you go, it's on there. But we haven't patched the holes yet on the car, and as you can see, there's just some duct tape covering the stock mounting holes, and that just, I'm not okay with that, okay? It looks so trashy. Luckily, the duct tape actually kind of matches the color of the car. Obviously, if you look, you can see the duct tape, but when this is just going down the road, I doubt anyone is like, wow, looks like he's got some duct tape on there. But I'm not okay with it, so today's video we're gonna be figuring out how to patch these holes. I'm pretty sure I know how to do it, but it's a little bit weird because the hole goes all the way through and it's not like a dent where you can fill it in. So I think I've got an idea of how to do that. So I'm gonna be showcasing that for you guys in case any of you want to install this wing and you want to do it the way I did to patch these holes. Or if I end up failing and I don't patch them correctly, then this is a video to show you guys how to not patch the holes and you'll have to go to somebody else. But I think I have an idea, so we're gonna go ahead and jump into that. It should be pretty straightforward. It always sketches me out raising this thing up because there's just so much wing. That's interesting. I have yet to experience a car that has a big wing, and obviously this isn't like a super big wing, but you know, it's pretty chunk, if I do say so myself. It's pretty big, but I really like it. Some of you guys were commenting and you thought that the wing didn't look good on this car, and I kind of knew that that was going to happen because it is very different, and this is not a very common wing that people run on this car. Actually, I've never even seen one that was running this other than this car, so it is very rare, but a lot of you guys also said they really liked it, so obviously to each their own. If you don't like it, then that's your opinion. I think it looks sick though, so we're not changing it. I'm keeping it on here. So as you guys can see, there are the stock holes right here, and there's duct tape on the other side, so I'm thinking I'm actually gonna leave the tape on there and then take some fiberglass Bondo and just cover these little hole areas, and then it'll kind of fill in the little hole right there. And I'll do that on all 4 of these holes, and then I'll close the trunk lid and come to the top of it and kind of make sure it's lining up right and file it down where it needs to be filed down, or maybe add a little bit more on the back side. But first we need to make sure that it's gonna seal to the inside. So I don't wanna run the fiberglass up against the paint because I don't think it'll bond to it very well. So I'm actually gonna take a grinder and I'm gonna get rid of all the paint around these holes, and then we'll start working with the fiberglass. I'm also wearing this mask because I don't want to get paint in my nose and mouth and all that. So maybe wear a mask if you want to. Guess it's not required, but I'm going to. Okay, so I tried the angle grinder, but it was a little bit too big to fit into the space. So I went ahead and just used a Dremel. Basically, I'm just scuffing up the paint right around the edges of the circles, so that way the fiberglass will bond to the metal and not to the paint. So pretty straightforward. I'm done with that side. Now I'm just gonna repeat the process on this side. And by the way, the Dremel setup I'm using is the Dremel itself with the wire wheel around the edge, and this is good for taking the paint off of the bare metal. So I've gotten the paint all sanded off the underside of there. I basically just did a little perimeter around each of the holes. So now I'm gonna use this little box. I'm gonna mix up some fiberglass. And I've covered this in videos before, but a lot of you guys requested this, so I'm just gonna go over everything from the basics. Not like super basic, but I'm just gonna go over what I'm using, how I mix the fiberglass stuff to make sure that there's not too much catalyst, and you guys will see in a sec. I also still don't have a workbench in here, so we're working on the ground. So what you're gonna need for this is just like a little thing to put the fiberglass on. I'm using this little box right now. An applicator tool, usually a plastic knife works good, but I don't have one, so I'm using a plastic fork. And then of course you'll need the Bondo or fiberglass. So for all intents and purposes, this is basically just Bondo, but it's called Bondo glass because it's like short strand reinforced fiberglass. So it has like little tiny filaments of fiberglass in there. And then when you buy this stuff, it comes with cream hardener, and this is basically just catalyst, and it makes it so that way you take this out of the container and then it won't solidify, so you put the catalyst on it and then it will solidify. And I'm pretty sure the ratio you need, I don't know it exactly, it's like 100 to 1. So basically for every 100 moles of this, you need 1 mole of this, or whatever measurement you want to use. 100 grams of this, you need 1 gram of this. If you just want to estimate it, you just put a bunch on there. If it's a lot, use like a big drop, and if it's not very much fiberglass, just put a little drop. I'm pretty sure it's 100 to 1. It's definitely not 10 to 1. I don't know that ratio. I'm sorry, I don't have that information off the top of my head, but it's really straightforward. As long as you put catalyst in it, it will solidify. So even if you don't get the ratio right, it will eventually solidify as long as this stuff touched it, because it causes the chain reaction inside of the Bondo glass. But it just kind of, if you put too much, it'll solidify too quickly, and if you put too little, it'll take longer. So you kind of want to get like a peanut butter texture to it. You'll see what I mean in a second. I also highly recommend getting a mask if you're going to be doing this a lot. You don't want to breathe this stuff in. It smells terrible and it's really not good for you. It can be cancer causing. So seriously, if you're doing this fiberglass, please get a mask. It is really bad for you. Don't breathe it in. I'm serious. I know I joke a lot, but I'm serious. I'm not kidding. Get a mask. Great. I just snapped the end of my fork. Alright, so I gotta go quick because now that the catalyst is in there, it's gonna start drying. As long as you keep it moving, it won't dry, but now that we've got that all mixed in, and it's got kind of a nice peanut butter type texture, I'm gonna go ahead and take it to the car and stick it on there. Alright, so I didn't show it on camera, but I repeated the same steps that I did on the left to the right. Obviously, it's pretty simple. You just kind of put it on there. It sticks right on. And then while these are drying, I'm going to do my best to keep this stuff moving because I have a little bit of extra. And so I'm going to put this down, and then I'll take the duct tape off once those have dried a little bit. And then I'll just kind of put a little bit of extra on the top of the holes so that way it seals perfectly. Alright, so after you get it put on the top, you just want to double check to make sure that it didn't like fall down under here, and it looks like it stuck pretty well. Here, let me move the light over here. Yeah, so you can see there's like a couple little bulges where the holes are. That's good. That means that the fiberglass on the top contacted the part on the bottom. Same thing over here, a couple little bulges top and bottom. So now I'm just gonna let this sit as it is for a little bit, let that harden, and then we'll sand the top of it. But I'm actually not too concerned about the bottom. I might sand it a little bit just to make it look a little better. But the top is the main thing, and this is actually part of the reason why I left the adhesive on here, so that if I got fiberglass on the adhesive from the stock wing, I was just gonna sand it, and then I'll be able to salvage as much of the paint as possible, but I am gonna have to touch up the paint a little bit back here, so that's just kind of a consequence of replacing the wing. But this is coming out pretty good. I'm pretty happy with this. Alright guys, so it's been a little while. I've been letting these sit and dry, and they're pretty much complete now. So I started working on this side, but I made a mistake, so I'm gonna go ahead and point that out to you guys. I should have put some tape around this area where I didn't want there to be any sort of scratches, because as you can see, I've put some scratches on this, which I was already expecting to happen because I have to sand down the fiberglass, but it's just a little bit unfortunate because I could have kept it to a smaller area. So on this side, when I come over here, I'll be sure to put some tape down so that way any scratches that happen will be over the small area. But it's not really a big deal. They're really surface level. Like I can't actually feel the scratches, so that means they're in the clear coat, so I should be able to buff them out. But just one of those things, kind of sucks. So when I do that side, I'll be sure to put some tape, and I'm actually gonna blow this dust off of here and put some tape around it just to make sure I don't make the scratches any worse. But if you're doing this and you're trying to cover up just those holes, when you go to sand the fiberglass that came through, you want to just make sure that you put tape around the area so that way you minimize the amount of scratching you have to do. All right, so I just finished sanding it down. This is kind of a rough attempt, but I'm not gonna make it super perfect until I paint. And I don't actually have the paint yet, so that'll have to wait for another video. But I have patched the holes and I've sanded them down smooth with the deck lid. There's still some adhesive on here. I still have to get that off, but like I said, I still need to paint this, so I'll just save that for when I'm prepping this for paint. So the last thing we're gonna do today is we're gonna take the car to the car wash because, well, yeah, it's looking a little rough. So we've got all the equipment, thanks to my trusty steed over here. Noble steed, that's what it is.
It's a little better.
I've decided to re-record the outro for this video because the outro that I recorded yesterday ended up becoming outdated because when I tried to upload this video today, YouTube just kind of glitched out and it told me that there was like an error and I couldn't get my video up. So hopefully this video can go up tomorrow. I'm gonna schedule it tonight. So it should come out on a Sunday. So if you're watching this on the day of release and it's a Sunday, then that means that I succeeded. But anyway, I just want to go ahead and wrap things up for this video. I went ahead and patched the holes. The video you guys just watched was a few days ago, but I'm still waiting for the touch-up paint. So there's obviously still fiberglass right here, but the main thing was sealing the trunk because the touch-up paint will be here at some point. I ordered it. I don't know when it'll be shipped out. COVID kind of delays everything, but I've got the holes patched and everything, and then I'll take the adhesive off, so I'll save that for an upcoming video. Not sure when that'll be. I also just recorded another video yesterday, so because this last week there was only one video, the next week we'll have 2 videos, so I hope you guys look forward to that. I'll probably release it on Wednesday, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, and dream big. Oh, also, I was gonna do a Q&A at the end of this video, but I actually got so many questions from you guys that I decided that I'm gonna put that in an upcoming video for itself because I haven't done a proper Q&A ever. So I hope you guys look forward to that, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.